All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to back to the channel here this evening. I have a special live stream with Randy from Ground Beef Guy. Welcome, Randy. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your carnivore journey so far?
All right. Well, I'm currently 100 days into it. Um, I set out on a goal to do initially started off the year. Well, let me just back up. Let me back up. So I've kind of been following the whole deal, the whole Ken Berry. I saw some of his stuff back when he didn't even have 3 or 4 thousand subscribers, real young, and for some reason I got connected to it. Kind of started watching it, and I saw the progression over the years of the whole thing. And then I saw Sean, the intentional carnivore, and we kind of connected somewhat. Me and him actually went to the same Bible college, so I was like, there's a connection there. Then I pretty much watched his journey, the incredible weight loss that he had. But and I've dabbled in it, as far as the carnivore goes, here and there. Just never really set my feet down and got after it. So I set out to begin the year to do that, and I did 60 days, did pretty well. My 50th birthday was on March 6th, and I let that kind of derail me a little bit, got me off the, I say, fell out the wagon. A buddy of mine said, I did more than fell off the wagon. I tore it up and was off for about 3 months. So, but anyway, still, I mean, I picked everything back up and got back with it. And June 3rd, I said, well, I'm going to really strive to do 90 days. So I did the 90 days, and I've kept going. In the middle of that, I did the walking challenge that one of the Carnivore Quest guys put out, and that's when I started kind of the YouTube channel to kind of for accountability most of all. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it's the way to go. The only issue I've had so far is the last 3 or 4 days. Well, since Friday, I've not been able to get out of the bed. I had a bad episode of gout. I found out today finally what it was, but I think I know what triggered it, and so I know that I'm not going to eat any more processed beef sausage with Texas Pete in it anymore.
So it was the sausage then because I saw your post about that you thought maybe it was the sausage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when it had like I read the ingredients. It had like MSG in it. Also had some high fructose corn syrup. So I've been eating really clean, uh, the previous over 90 days. So that's the only thing I can figure triggered it. So
Okay.
I haven't had any bad things happen. Other than that, I feel great.
Yeah. So you said that you know that this is the right thing for you and you're going to keep doing it. At what point did you feel that you knew this was the right diet for you? Was it like 30 days in, 60 days, 90 days? What point did you feel that you knew?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably 30, 45 days in. I, I've often heard people say you need to try to do something you think you can sustain. And everything I've read about it and listened to from a lot of you guys have led me to believe that, that. And then I just know how I feel. I feel great. I mean, I don't have any, I mean, I can't say anything negative about it.
Okay. So we have a comment here from D. Lee saying, hi, Brian and Randy. So hello to D.
Okay.
While we're waiting for any questions, if you do have a question, go ahead and put put it in there with a Q in front of it so that we can find it fairly easily in the chat. There's Greg from My Weight Loss Life. So hello, Greg. So while we're waiting there, let's start talking a little bit about the first 90 days and what to expect. So I'll let you go first. So you mentioned that you kind of started up 30, 60 days, and then you took a little bit of break there with the birthday thing. And
Yeah.
then you kind of get back into it pretty strong here now over 90 days. So what would be the best experiences that you would relate to our viewers out there about how what to expect during that first 90 days on the diet?
I kind of thought about that as I, saw the title on it. Just it's an adjustment. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's an adjustment. It's definitely there's a lot of mental to it, a lot of mental getting the mind right, um, and determining when you after you see what it makes you feel, how you feel. That's a key thing to me. That the way you feel from being on it overall. And I'm still a pretty good sized guy, so I still got a ways to go. Um, but because I was at the doctor today, I actually weighed in, and I'm actually less. I mean, going back, I, I mean, I've had a long journey within the whole thing. So not just within carnivore, but with weight loss, it's been a kind of an up and down thing. Like I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about yo-yo, and but I actually had a vertical sleeve gastrectomy in 2013, and I lost about 100 pounds. I went from I was actually up to 479. I lost down to 379. Well, I'm below that now, so I've got below what I got with the actual surgery. So that makes me feel really good. But
Mm-hmm.
that first 90 days, yeah, it's almost like you if you can stick with it, you get to that 30-day mark and say you're doing pretty good, and just keep pressing, just keep that mindset. Let me get to the 60 now. Let me get to the 90. It does seem like it gets easier, and my routine is pretty much because I'm out on the road mostly through the week, Monday through Friday, and I do 2 meals a day. Typically, there I usually eat breakfast, and then I'll go and I'll have my supper or whatever between 4 and 6 every day. When I'm home on the weekend, if we're with the family, I may eat an additional meal just because I'm with them, but it's still carnivore and it's still something meat.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so we got a comment here. Go, Dad! So proud of you. So I assume this is your daughter, Abby.
Yeah, that's one of them.
All
Yep.
right. Well, hello, Abby.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a question for you, Randy. When you first started, so first time around on carnivore, did you kind of jump right in, or did you ease into it?
No, I jump right in because I mean I've done the low carb and the um, I don't want to say I've ever done what is considered keto. To me, that it's those words are kind of interchangeable. I think low carb, Atkins, keto. To me, that all is about the same thing. I know that maybe there's some macros, or I never got into all that stuff, but I've done all those things as well. So yeah, I said, well, uh, Dr. Barry, that weight loss hack, that was that's kind of the BBB and E, I guess,
Hmm.
is the kind of the game changer.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so since you kind of jumped right in, but you had kind of done low carb before that, I'm curious, did you have any issues? So something you hear a lot of times from people that are going, whether it's keto or carnivore, when they first go to it from the standard American diet, you hear that they'll talk about like the keto flu where they just don't feel good, or they have issues of runny stools and so forth for like a week or two. Did you have any types of issues like that? Or because you've kind of done low carb before, did you not really run into those issues?
Yeah, I don't remember any kind of keto flu. But yeah, typically when you get into ketosis, you can expect to be on the toilet. I mean, that's about the kindest way I can put it. And to me, that is kind of the identifier that you're officially in ketosis when you that first initial run to the bathroom, and then for a couple of days, you better be close to the bathroom if and you better not make a mistake. And you know, I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's exactly
Yeah. So when I first started, I slowly went into keto and then carnivore. So I kind of had that transition period. So I
okay.
didn't really experience much. I did have a little bit of bathroom issues, but it wasn't too bad. And I didn't really run into some of the issues that people talk about, like with just fatigue and feeling sore and stuff like that for the first couple of weeks.
Right.
Um, so I really didn't experience that, but I also went into it pretty slowly. Um, so the other experiences that I would say that, from what I noticed in the first 90 days, like I had a lot of joint pain. I had arthritis in my big toes. It wasn't gout, but it was like, you know, just whatever regular arthritis or whatever the doctor said it was. I don't remember. Um,
Right.
and so I had joint pain that I would have in different, parts like the wrists, elbows, ankles, knees, wherever. And those things all probably in the first 30 to 60 days, probably in the first 30 days, really, improved dramatically to the point where I didn't even have it anymore. Right. Um, Now I have had a couple of times where I've banged my foot or my toe really hard and I've had a little bit of pain or swelling for a little bit, but it hasn't been anything bad. And more recently now I'm over 14 months now on the diet. And more recently, like I've been able to bang my toe and not have any big issues. Now I did have one issue more recently with my ankle where I kind of twisted it or something. And that was a little bit of an issue for a couple of days, but overall it wasn't too bad. Um, so those are some of the big things that I saw right away. But then there were other things that I didn't notice right away. And there were some things that I didn't even notice until I looked back. Like for instance, I used to have back pain when I slept at night in bed. And um it would be to the point that, I'd have to I even had like my hips and stuff would hurt. I'd lay on one side, then I go over to the other side and so forth, right? And I'm not even sure when it changed, but at some point it changed and that pain went away. But it was like weird because it was like must have been slow over time because I never really realized it until more recently. And I was like, I used to have this back pain and I don't have it anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so have you had anything like that? Like if you kind of go back and look at it um over the last 3 months here or so, that maybe you didn't really notice it, but you kind of think about it like, yeah, that's changed.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of like aches and joints and movement stuff like that is a whole lot different now. I'm not as achy, not um, conflicted in those ways as before, just eating a standard American diet. I still my sleep's not where I would like it to be, but I'm averaging about 5 to 7 hours, uh, and I guess the experts say that you should get 8 hours, at least 8 hours, but I just can't. I mean, I can try as hard as I want to. I just can't do it. And I'm usually going to wake up at least one time through the night.
Mm.
But I don't. I've attributed that somewhat to getting older, but maybe that's not it. Maybe it's um, the weight that I still have on me. But hopefully, eventually, it'll get to where I can sleep. But I mean, it doesn't affect my performance during the day, only getting 5 to 7 hours sleep. I mean, I'm alert, and I'm not because I drive a truck, so I'm not falling asleep driving. So
Yeah.
the other thing I was going to say is you're talking about differences. I can kind of give a little difference to me between low carb keto and carnivore. I really don't have any cravings on the carnivore diet as much as I would say on a low carb. I always had that tendency to say, let me just get a little bite of this, or you know, but it's not been that way, especially now that I'm into it like where I'm at. But I have told some people that if for some reason Krispy Kreme comes back out with their lemon glazed donuts, I might be in trouble. That's the only thing I just thought those were the best things when they were out. So I'm kind of hoping and praying that they don't make those again. That's going to tempt me.
So, talking about the sleep thing, one thing I can tell you that I've noticed before doing carnivore, I always needed at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Now that I've been doing carnivore, I probably get about 7, and
Okay.
I feel more rested than I was before carnivore. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe you don't need quite as much sleep when you're eating a carnivore diet. So it'll be interesting to see how that works for you. All
Yeah,
right, so
for sure.
Greg has a question for us. Greg
Okay.
from My Weight Loss Life. He is on day 2 of carnivore. So Greg had been doing keto, and he was kind of like every other day keto and then carnivore. So mostly keto, low carb. And he's now on day 2 of just carnivore. And he said, "Did either of you notice a difference in arthritis pain that quick? I felt amazing today." So I did touch on this a little bit. I don't think that I noticed it myself that quickly, but Randy, what about you? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say it was very quickly, but it wasn't too long. I mean, I felt like it. And again, being still a pretty good sized guy. I mean, I know I'm going to have some aches and pains along the way, but overall, I mean, even during that walking challenge, not it wasn't that bad, and so that's good. I mean, hey, way to go, man! If you felt amazing after 2 days, just hang in there, right?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that works for him because I know myself in that first maybe 30 days or so, there were some times I don't know if I had some oxalate dumping or what, but there were some times that some of my pain actually got worse and then it got better, if that
Right.
makes sense. And I know you just talked about having the gout flare up, which you believe is from the sausage, but I almost kind of wonder if that's something related to like as you're healing before you completely heal, you might have days that, things don't work right. So it'll be interesting to see for Greg if he does have any days coming up where he has some arthritis pain or not.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the walking challenge that you did because I was watching your videos and it seemed like you were using the videos, I guess, for accountability. But um, how much were you walking every day? It seemed like you were doing a lot of walking during that time period.
No, the goal I had initially was to if I could get to a mile. That was, and then 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, but a mile was the goal for me. And that's where I got to, and I kind of just stuck there. I didn't try to go
Mm,
crazy with it. So yeah, I was just in a
okay.
lot of different places.
Well, I'll tell you that a mile is still more than I walk, so
Yeah,
that's great. And you mentioned that you've lost more weight than when you had the surgery, right? So
yeah.
do you have an
Well,
idea of how
I'd
much you
say
lost?
I'm below the point
Okay.
the what I got to whenever I lost about 100 pounds in the surgery. But now when I started there, I was at 479, so I was at about 434 at the beginning of this year. I don't know what I was in June, but um, I'm down now. I was 472 at the doctor, so it's about 60 pounds maybe, or
So
62 pounds.
it was four. What were you before?
434 is what I
four.
for at the beginning of
Okay.
this year.
Okay. And now you're
72.
372. Wow. Okay. So that's a pretty good amount then. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm pleased.
the only exercise you've been doing is the walking, right? Has there been any other exercising?
No, just walking.
Just the walking. Okay. Yeah. So that's good. That's just the walk, walking and eating the right proper meals, right?
That's it.
Um, so you're at least 90 days in here now on your, going strong time period here, from coming back to it. And um how often are you eating? Has it changed in that first 90 days, or has it been pretty consistent? So, like, is it how many times a day? Is it once a day, twice a day, three times a day, whatever? And has it been pretty consistent, or have you kind of been tweaking that as you go?
It's been pretty consistent. A couple times a day, for the most part. Like I said, now if we're home and the whole family's here, which my wife, I got two daughters, and they, if we're visiting with them, then it's would possibly eat something a third time, but it's still, like I say, going to be carnivore. Now, I'll be honest, I have not. If I can't say I've been 100% clean carnivore the whole. I mean, I have had some dill pickles, and I've eaten a little small like side salad,
Mm,
but nothing. I guess I don't know if I would consider that a cheat or not, but
mm,
uh, maybe,
mm. Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, it's not that bad, right? It's not like you're eating cookies and whatever sugared up
right?
foods, right? So,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Um, and so your YouTube channel is ground beef guy.
Yep.
So I'm gonna guess that you eat a lot of ground beef, probably. Um, but what other items do you incorporate normally in your meals?
Well, like today, I had, of course, I had eggs for breakfast. Usually bacon and eggs for breakfast, and I stay in motels a lot through the week. Man, it's like it's very glorious when the motel has bacon, which is not very often, but it's real good when they do. But most times they do have boiled eggs, and I've got a boiled egg maker that I take with me on the road. Um, and also, like tonight, we had cube steak. I like cube steak, ground up. I don't know what kind of beef it is, but my wife just she fried it up in butter and put a little salt on it, like that. And yeah, hamburgers a lot of hamburgers. Um, the ribeyes, I know everybody's big proponents of that. I like a good ribeye. I'm not overly crazy about a lot of fat on it though. I mean, I've gotten kind of used to eating more of that fat that's on those ribeyes, but it's not my favorite thing. It still kind of wigs me out a little bit. I don't know. That's the only way I know how to put it.
Yeah.
But
And so you mentioned that you are out of town. Excuse me, that you're out of town a lot, right? Um, excuse me. Hold on one second.
okay.
Sorry about that. So you mentioned that you're out of town a lot. And have a lot of people that, and I struggle with this when we go out of town. We kind of struggle with eating clean and so forth, but it sounds like it's working pretty good for you. So can you share a little bit of how you approach that when you're out of town?
Yeah, mostly I'm gonna if I don't cook something, then I'm gonna find Wendy's and get a triple, with no bread and just the meat. Now I've got to where I was eating a couple of triples, but I'm pretty much down to just a one triple now. That's my first choice on if I have to eat out. Um, a lot of times where because I'm not in an 18 wheeler, I'm in a 10 wheel flatbed. Yeah, I mean it's still you got to have a CDL for it. But I try to park at the motel close to where I can walk to somewhere to eat. So I'm usually close to a steakhouse, so I can usually get a steak. But I don't know the way I was raised, man. It's really kind of aggravating or tough to to say, just bring me the meat, don't bring the sides. I mean, I feel like, man, I paid for this, but I have kind of gotten used to it now. When the family's with me, of course, they're the benefactors. They get all the sides, they get extra sides with their stuff. But another, like for breakfast, let's say the motel doesn't have bacon and they don't have any boiled eggs, and they just have um, the powdered eggs. I refuse to eat those. So here where I'm at, I'm not sure exactly where you are, Brian, but I'm here in South Carolina, but I'm mostly in the Southeast. We have Waffle Houses over here.
Mhm.
And I will go there. I'll find a Waffle House, and they sell everything a la carte. So I will get 4 eggs scrambled, and I'll get a large order of bacon from them, which is either $9 or $9.50, depending on what Waffle House you're at. So
Okay. So
works
I'm
out
in
pretty good.
Virginia, so we have Waffle Houses here too.
Oh
So we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
too far away, just a couple states away from each
I'm
other.
actually as long as my foot cooperates tomorrow, and I can walk, climb into my truck. Okay, I'm coming toward Virginia, so I'll
Okay.
be probably in the Shenandoah Valley
Hmm.
uh, tomorrow night, more than likely, or either the night after that. But I definitely got to come up through that way.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we got Carnivore Soldiers out there. He says howdy from Austin. And he also said that he loves Wendy's too, the triple baconator with cheese for him when he's mobile.
Yeah,
And Carnivore Trucker is out there. Hey y'all, he says.
sure.
And we have another question here. Let me bring that up. So this is also from Greg. He had triple B and E for supper. Did OMAD today too. Asked if either of us have done OMAD. So I know you eat a couple times a day, and it's been pretty consistent. So you probably have not messed around with OMAD at all yet, right?
I did dabble with it at one time. Like I said, when I've kind of dabbled and played with the carnivore thing for about 2 or 3 years, picking at it, I guess you could say. Um, Really, man, Sean, he's the inspiration for me, man. That to get with it and stick with it. Not just kind of play around with it, but to keep. I'm talking about Sean, intentional carnivore, just to
Mhm.
see, man, the transformation that happened to him has been amazing. But yeah, I did probably a 30-day stint on that on the OMAD with it. Uh, I want to say last, it might have been during the COVID time, and I mean, I mean, now at the point, today's day 100 for me. So at this point, I could do. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I'm never, you know, in the morning. I mean, I can honestly say I'm not hungry. I mean, I'm not. When I get up in the morning, I'm not like, man, I've got to have something. I don't know if that's just one of the blessings of the carnivore diet. Is it's that way? Um, I feel like that possibly I might do it again if I get to where I'm not losing. I might try the OMAD, but um,
Yeah.
it's not too bad if you can do it. I think in general for everyone, I feel like this is what I would tell everybody. Make it work for you, whatever's the most comfortable for you that you can keep doing and keep sustaining. Then and try to do that. I mean, that's don't get stressed out about all there's so many working parts and everybody's got their own ideas about everything, but you got to make it work for yourself.
That's great advice. Really is. Um, so for OMAD, my experience is I when I first got on carnivore, I was like, there's no way I can do one meal a day, and I was doing two. Um, and it'd be like around, I don't know, noon, 1 o'clock, and then like around 6 o'clock. So there'd be about a 6 hour window where I would eat two meals, and then there'd be like an 18-hour fast in between, right? So I didn't eat breakfast. Um, and like around April, May time frame of this year, 2023 here into like June, I did some OMAD, And it wasn't that I did it intentionally, but I started eating a lot of ribeye, and I was eating. I got the big slabs from Costco, and I was cutting them into like 24-ounce ribeyes. So I was eating like a pound and a half of ribeye, and I was finding that that was filling me up. And I went for that good month, 2 months or so there of just eating pretty much one meal a day. Um, but I also kind of found, well, first of all, they're eating ribeye every day was kind of expensive for me, but also I missed the variation that I had. So I started bringing back into like chicken wings and stuff like that. And when I did that, it wasn't as easy to just eat one meal a day. I'd get hungry quicker. So I'm kind of
I've
back
heard
to
that.
doing 2 meals a day. Yeah. So I've been back to 2 meals a day now. And you know what I've been doing recently here.
Cool.
So let's see. So Greg says he's watching the game and hanging out. I forgot that there's an NFL game tonight. Was it the Jets and the
Oh,
Bills? I wonder what's happening in
yep.
that game.
I don't know. I was watching the Braves before I came on here. I'm a Braves fan down here.
Okay, cool. And D Lee says, yeah, Sean did and does fantastic, great influence. Yeah, I love talking to Sean. He's so true and sincere about everything, and you can very quickly, when talking to him, you can tell that he really, really cares. And he cares about like all of his everybody that watches his videos and so forth, right?
Right.
He's definitely not doing his channel to try and um, to try and get money out of it or anything like that. He really truly wants to give back because he feels so blessed that he found the carnivore diet, and he wants to give back to everybody else and help other people find the carnivore diet and so forth. I don't know that there's a more genuine person than Sean.
I
He's so
agree.
great. He's got that Facebook page that we're both a part of. And he puts all kinds of time into this, and he's great. He People are able to relate to him very well with the way that he portrays, the message and tells his story, and he's just an inspiration for so many people. He's great. So
Absolutely.
let's catch up on some comments here. We have Mama Poppins says hello from Georgia. So hello.
Hey, Mama.
Italian Gone Carnivore. Hello from PA. Love watching your journey, Randy.
Hey
Hello.
there. She's a sweet lady. Has a great channel.
And here she goes talking about Sean too.
Yep.
So let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, let me go back to this. Rodgers got hurt right away. Wait. So
Oh
did Aaron
man.
Rodgers get hurt? Is he hurt? Is he
In the
out of the
game,
game?
huh?
That would be interesting. Okay, so Carnivore Backwoods is here. Hello, John. He says the problem with Waffle House is they cook the eggs in soybean oil. I have use a small amount of oil to keep the eggs from sticking. Depending on the cook, you can get them to cook in bacon grease.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be worth it to try to say, hey, can you just say that you're allergic to the oils, and can you cook it in bacon grease instead?
I've thought about going there and trying something else. I typically, when I go to Waffle House, obviously I'm staying at a motel, so I will. They usually all at the motels that I stay at usually always have butter. So I will get a handful of the butter that's in those packages and take it with me because I've been doing something. I saw the steak and butter gal and some of her people talk about drinking her coffee for dessert in the morning time after they eat breakfast and not drinking it before. I feel like that's made a difference to me since I've been doing that. So I always take butter with me. I haven't thought about doing that, but I bet that they would if I said, "Hey, I got some." They might. I don't know. I've got some butter here. Would you mind cooking my eggs in this butter instead of using? Because I know they got margarine there, and I have seen them put some of the oil. That stuff I can't tell that that's bothered me, but who knows? It might have affected the gout that I have recently experienced. You know,
Yeah. Hmm.
I love their bacon though. I mean, at Waffle House, It's one thing about them. They're consistent. It doesn't matter where you go. The bacon is always, it's the same bacon if it's in South Carolina or Virginia or wherever you go. It's going to be the same kind of bacon. It tastes the same.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Mama Poppins says, check out Larry and Cassie on Carnivore Quest. Carnivore Quest is great too. Um,
Oh, yeah.
they're kind of like you call them the godfather and the god woman of carnivore, right? Like in terms of regular people, not talking about doctors, but just regular ordinary people doing the carnivore diet and sharing their
Yep.
experiences within YouTube. I think they've got to be the originals, right?
I call
That's
Larry
what
the
it seems
Carnivore
like.
Quest King. So I'm sure I would call Cassie the Carnivore Quest Queen.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time,
Yeah,
and um, you know, they will tell you how it's going. If it's going good, it's going bad. They're going to tell you. They're going to share their experiences and their journey with you. So
no doubt.
definitely, if you aren't already checking out Carnivore Quest, check them out. They are great. Okay. So this was Greg had said Rogers got hurt right away, and then here he says he is out of the game. So that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Oh, here's where I was talking about telling them if you're allergic to seed oils.
Yeah.
Telling Gone Carnivore says, truth be told, most places use soy seed oils and nasty stuff. I tell them I'm allergic and then ask them to cook on a naked grill. Yeah.
Of course, at Waffle House, man, the seed oils might be the it might be the worst thing you're worried about there. They're not technically the cleanest places, man.
Yeah. Well, Carnivore Backwoods says that Waffle House has a great T-bone steak.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this. They took it off the menu, but you have to
Uh,
actually ask for the steaks now. On the
mm,
they still cook them, but and evidently they have so many regular customers that ask for steaks that they can get by with not putting it on the menu and still the steak doesn't go bad. I guess.
yeah. Tango's Carnivore says, then I add my own butter. I carry butter and Redmond's real salt with me always. So I've got like the little pocket size shaker of Redmond's. This is
I,
the Redmond's real salt. I take this like if I go out of town or and so forth, or if I'm going to a restaurant or something. So
I
I
got the
always take that
same. I
and
got
use
the same thing, but you know what, man? I go through that thing too quick. I need a bigger one.
that.
But
So
I've got an old Tupperware container that my mom had that I carry with me in my bag. I was going to see if I've got it here. Because I bought. It's been uh, several. I guess a couple of months ago, I got the bucket, like the 10-pound bucket of Redmonds.
hmm,
So I got one of these. If you can
yeah.
see that, it's actually got pepper on it, but it's salt. So always toting that on the road.
Yeah. Now I don't go out of town as much as you, but I bought a 6 pack, I think, of these.
Same.
Um yeah, so I still got like two left, but I went to the Smoky Mountains for the week and I easily used an entire one of these in that week. Maybe I just told you guys how much that I'm eating way too much salt. I don't know, but I did use like the whole thing. So okay, so let me catch up here. So Italian Gone Carnivore has a question for Randy. How are you feeling with the gout attack? So we talked a little bit about that, but can you explain how it's been going?
Yeah, it's it's been rough. I can tell you that. It's been one of the worst uh, ones I've had in several years. But I have not been able to walk without crutches up until this afternoon. I was able to walk a little bit, and I feel like that I'm on the backside of it now. I did get they did X-ray my foot today, and they because it looked he was thinking there might possibly be an infection and not be gout. So they checked that, did the blood work, but when the blood work came back, of course, uh, the telltale sign is the uric acid. It was high, and the white blood cell count was high. So that was like the red flags that it's. So I know now it was gout, and I'll hear his report tomorrow and see if he's gonna give me any other kind of medication to um, make sure that I can try to keep it under control. Which I don't, man. I'm trying to get off his meds as much as possible, But
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be walking again, but still a little bit of pain in that
Mm.
foot.
Yeah. And when you have the gout attacks, like how long do they usually last for? A few days, a week, or?
Well, this is the longest one for me. Like Friday, I was noticing it Friday morning, and by Friday night, I couldn't walk at all, and I was able to get to my bedroom, and fortunately, the bathroom was about 10 feet from me, and I didn't come out of there until today, this morning, Monday. We had the crutches loaded up, and my wife took me to the doctor this morning, and so this has been the longest. Usually a day or two max, but you know,
Mm.
um, tough.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I remember Sean, intentional carnivore, saying he only had one attack during his whole, and it was at the beginning, which I'm technically 100 days in. So maybe this is it for me. Keep losing, keep staying away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely heard from people that have said that sometimes early on they will have reoccurrences of their issues. And then after that, whatever it is, 30, 60, 90 days, it seems to just go away all the way and they don't have it. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes for you. Italian Gone Carnivore says, please check out the berberine. I'm not sure if I said that
Berberine, yeah.
right. So is that like a medication that you can use, or?
Yeah, I think it's like a natural.
Like
I looked up a little bit
okay.
about it. I think she had sent me a message on that already. I'm definitely going to check that out for sure.
Okay. Mama Poppins says ghee clarified butter is shelf stable. Take that with you to whatever food place you're at and let them use that. It's
Okay.
amazing. Have you ever used ghee before? Because I've heard a lot of
Or
people
not.
talking about it, but I've pretty much just stuck with either butter or bacon grease. So I've never tried ghee before.
I was at a Whole Foods this past week. I went in and kind of walked around. I was looking for beef tallow. I keep hearing everybody talk about the beef tallow, and I was going to try that out, check it out. But they didn't have any beef tallow. They did have the ghee, and I saw it was clarified butter. Almost got it. I didn't know, but I will since Mama Poppins made that recommendation. I'll get me a little bit of it and give it a shot.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Sure
try it
will.
sometime too. So Carnivore Backwards says everyone hit the thumbs up button and share in your social media. Yeah, so whichever channel you're on, go ahead and like the video and share it on your social medias. If you're not already subscribed, then please go ahead and subscribe, and that's going to help us to get this message out to more and more people. And liking the video is going to help to let more people know right now that we're live, which will help to get more people interested in joining the live stream and so forth. So thank you there, John. My husband has gout and we use Aleve. I'm so sorry that you're having a bad flare up. Add you to our prayer list. Congrats on day 100. Detox can be an issue for, I'm not sure.
Issue for a while, probably.
Issue,
Yeah.
issue. There we go. Yeah, yeah. Issue for a while. Sometimes you read these, I'm like, okay, wait, what?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have any Aleve. I would have tried it for sure.
yeah. Oh, and Greg says that he uses ghee all the time. It works great. So that's good there.
If it's anything like regular butter, I'm all in, man. I can tell you, I love butter more now more than ever.
Yeah. Um, so have you had any issues with like high blood pressure or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, I've been on medication most all of my life for it, high blood pressure. So uh, So yeah, I'm still on medication for it. Um,
Okay.
I also had AFib. Since I've been carnivore, I've not had any issues with AFib. Uh, I still take a couple meds for that. I did have a what they call a heart ablation a few years back,
Mm.
which I thought that would mean, coming off of it. But maybe if I keep losing weight, they'll say, "Hey, we'll give it a shot." But got me on a blood thinner and the Sotalol, which is keeps everything somewhat regular. But like I said, I hadn't had any issues, so that's the next report when I see the cardiologist will be, "Hey, he'll see the weight I've lost, and which is not till March of next year. So hopefully by then he'll see a good bit of weight loss, and
Yeah.
we'll try something different. I do wear a CPAP every night, uh, so it'd be nice to get rid of that too one day, you know.
Hmm.
So
All right. So I have my own AFib story to tell, but first, Italian Gone Carnivore is heading out. So um, thank you for watching and have a good night for her. Peachy Pam and MD in Maryland. Hello, all. So she's here. Hello.
hey,
And
Peachy,
now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my AFib story. So I first got diagnosed with AFib in 2018. And when I first got diagnosed with it, I think I went a little around about a year before I had another episode. And then they started coming more frequently. And my cardiologist told me that they would start coming more and more frequently, and there wasn't much you could do with it other than having an ablation, right?
right,
So before I went on carnivore, we were getting to that point of discussing whether or not I should have an ablation. And then I went on carnivore, and I've over a year now without a single episode. Before I started carnivore, I was having about 2 episodes a week. And I was also finding that just lifting heavy weights, um, maybe even for like 10, 15 minutes was enough to stress my heart enough to put me into AFib.
mm,
Um, Now I'm lifting heavier weights and I can go 30, 40 minutes when I do a weight session, and I have not gone into AFib. Um, and like I said, it's been over a year, so I'm really um, feeling positive about that. And I'm kind of in the same situation you are, except I haven't had the ablation. But in terms of, I'm on a beta blocker and a blood thinner. And the last time I went to the cardiologist, I had lost a good amount of weight. I think at that point I had lost like 50 or 60 pounds. Um, and, had been maybe 8, 9 months or so without an episode. And he said, okay, let's see how it is the next time. We're talking about potentially going off the medication. I don't know if I've lost enough weight yet.
right.
So when I go back in October, so about a month and a half here. So I'm not sure that he's going to be willing to take me off the medication yet, but I'm really hoping I can get off it um, at some point here, especially the blood thinner. Um, so are you on a blood thinner as well, or just
Yep,
okay,
Eliquis and
Eliquis? Okay.
Sotalol.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm on
Yeah,
Eliquis. I'm on Eliquis, and then I'm on metoprolol for the um, beta blocker. But the
okay,
Eliquis thing, that thing, like I barely hit myself, and I just start bleeding like crazy, right?
right,
So I want to get off that medication so bad because I'm always so worried that I'm gonna do something, bigger and
right.
bleed out or something. So I'm encouraged that you are um doing well here now, 90 days in here, haven't had an episode. And like I said, I've been over a year. So it'll be great to see how each of us progress here if we keep going, and what the cardiologists tell us and so forth. So I'm encouraged by it though.
Yeah, one of the last times I visited with a cardiologist talking about the AFib, he was like, "Yeah, we can do another ablation or whatever." I was like, "Another one?" I thought, I was thinking that you're supposed to fix it whenever it. But he said, "No, I mean, as long as they never got into the details with me that how important the weight loss was with it. They were just real, stressing about getting the ablation procedure. And so when I had the ablation procedure, they had me on the table back there, and being a bigger person, they had to give me more blood thinner to do the
Mm.
procedure. Well, during the procedure, they gave me too much, and they thought I was about to go into cardiac arrest on the table.
Wow.
So that's all going on. Of course, I don't know. I'm out, and my wife's telling me about it. I was hearing about it later, but then they did um, what's the other thing called? Heart catheterization.
Hmm.
So they did a heart cath on me basically because of their mistake of putting too much blood thinner in. They gave a false that I was about to have a heart attack. So they were going in there and said there was a blockage. Then they got in there and there was no blockage. They said I had everything was really clean as far as my arteries go, which being a big guy, not eating healthy all these years, kind of surprised me. But so now, a few years later, when I go and the doctor, he said, "Hi, your cholesterol's up," and talking about putting you on one of those cholesterol pills, Lipitor, and all that. I'm like, "No, man." I said, I had that heart cath. I said, "I know how I've eaten. I'm not doing it." So I'm not
Yeah.
going on any kind of cholesterol pills. And I've seen too many things now that it might help 1% of the people. Not a. It's more
Yeah.
damaging than it is good. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think is it's going to cause more harm than good. So I've been staying away from that as well. My regular doctor had mentioned if the last time I went in, if the cardiologist had said anything about my cholesterol, and I'm like, nope, he thinks it's good. I'm like, I am not going on anything, so don't even say it.
he'd even check my cholesterol this last time. So there's no use in checking it, I guess.
So Charger Mopar Rick is here, back from working, and look who is here, Rick.
A 40-year carnivore.
And Nicole, former fat girl, is here. Hey, hey. Oh, so Peachy Pam and MD says I have a pacemaker defibrillator on a lot of meds.
Mm.
Interesting. So one thing I heard with the ablation, what my cardiologist told me was if one of the spots that they have to freeze is actually the part that does um, your beating of your heart, you have to get a pacemaker. Did they talk to you at all about that? That is a possibility when you went in for your ablation.
Yeah, I think they did kind of mention that, mention some of the other things, options that you have or whatever, or they would possibly have to do.
Yeah.
They maybe try to scare you.
Well, I tell you, I definitely, when they were talking about that, I was like, yeah, I'm starting the carnivore diet. Let me see what happens here before we go any further talking about this. And
Yeah.
luckily, things have been going pretty well so far. Oh, so Mama Poppins, it looks like she's going out for the night. Have a wonderful night. So, all right, Mama. I think we are caught up on questions right now. Um, so let's go back to kind of our topic here of what to expect the first 90 days of carnivore. And um, so for you, Randy, we've talked a bit about the food, but what about drink? What are you pretty much just water, or do you drink other stuff too, or what?
Yeah, mainly water. I do have that coffee with butter in it. A little. That's I call it dessert now after breakfast. 1 cup of coffee with a couple pats of butter in it, straight up. And that's it. I've adapted to that. I did used to use cream, but since I've the 90-day, well, I've not had any cream or anything like that during this. I will drink some of the. I saw again. I know I've referenced it several times. Intentional carnivore guy So I'm drinking those Topo Chicos, the mineral water, and so I got one. Man, those are good. I really like those.
Are
Kind
they?
of gives you the that and like a San Pellegrino mineral water. Kind of gives you the sensation of a Pepsi or something, but there, of course, there's no Pepsi flavor there. It's just that carbonation, but it's still I like them. So I'll have one of those every so often. But
Hmm.
mostly water. I do the Element. I don't have any sponsorship, so but everybody else does. So I'm sure you can tag them and get the free 8 samples um, on there.
And how often do you take Element? Like once a day or?
At least once a day, sometimes twice.
Okay.
No rhyme or reason on it. I did get a big bottle of that keto chow of the electrolyte supplement they had that I guess Dr. Berry recommended. Um, Salty though, it was a lot more to me. It was a lot more salty than of course, the Element. They've got a little bit of flavor to it, and I have not had any type of cravings based on that. But I still probably will get the unflavored next time that I get an order of the Element salts or electrolytes.
Yeah. And we have a question that came in here. Let me put this up. Most tempting food moment during the first 90 days.
Oh boy, let me think. I'm sure there's been many, because nobody at my house is doing it, so they will cook some things that can be kind of tough, brownies or something like that. Um, yeah, I really can't look back at a particular moment that I almost gave in and yeah to it
Okay. She has a second part to it. What did you do, or what you did to
to
overcome it?
overcome it.
So, if you can think of maybe a time how you overcame that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a walk, just walk outside, kind of get away, take a ride. If I'm at home, you know, uh, something like that.
Mm.
And I usually, the one daughter that you saw that chimed in earlier, she's in college. I got 2 girls in college actually. The first one, the older one, and both of them. One, I try to go by on my route, at least stop by and have dinner with them. And they always want to go somewhere like Outback or that's got those blooming onions and cheese fries and all that stuff. And and I've done that some, but I've here lately I've been saying no, we're not doing that. I'm not gonna put that stuff in front of me. No, you got to look out for me a little bit. And so we'll go somewhere that I can get burger patties at, things like that.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right. So,
just stay away from it.
I'm gonna answer the second part first. What did you do to overcome
Okay.
it? So some of the best things that I've done to overcome certain cravings or times that I just wanted to eat something was just by eating like something like bacon or something like that, right? There was a good example one time I was sitting there and I don't even know that I was really that hungry, but I was watching TV. I was watching like a game or something. It was over the summer, so I think it was like a baseball game or something. And maybe it's the commercials, I don't know, but something made me think that I needed to eat. So I went and I made up some bacon really quick and I ate like half a pound of bacon or something like that. And that worked really well for me. So there's been different times, different things like that. Or if I have like beef jerky, I make homemade beef jerky sometimes. So if I have something like that, that works good to just to eat something to get rid of the craving. Um, Going back to the beginning question, though, most tempting food moment during the first 90 days. I don't know. I've had so many of those, and I got to tell you that there are definitely times that I didn't overcome it and I did eat badly.
Yeah.
um, I think, we're all human and we're all going to make mistakes. So don't beat yourself up if you do get tempted and you do eat something. Just, try and learn from it and move on and, start over again right from right that point. Um, and I think that over time it gets easier, and you'll find as you go on in the diet that it gets easier. You get less of those tempting moments. I still get them, but not to the degree that I did before. Um, so that's definitely getting better for me as I go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They say make that next meal. If you mess up, just forget about it. Make the next meal. Go right back to it.
yep, yep. That's the key, is making sure you just get right back on it.
Yeah.
So D Lee has to go. Thank you for the live. All right. Thank you for joining. So Rick is craving a heart attack. So Rick is funny. So he's actually the very first person I interviewed on this channel was Rick, and he affectionately calls the carnivore diet the heart attack diet. And when he started like 40 years ago, um, that was the thing. Like everybody was like, "Oh, you're going to have a heart attack going on that diet." So he went on the heart attack diet.
Mm.
So yeah, 40 years later, he's doing well. So
Still going strong. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah. All right. Let's see. So I got that one. Cateau in church heading out. Carnivore soldiers heading out. Cheers. All right. So let's see here. So we both are on. I'm going to put a plug in here again for Sean, Intentional Carnivore. We're both on his Facebook page. By the way, it's Carnivorous Community or Carnivore.
Yep.
Yeah,
Carnivorous
Carnivorous
community.
Community. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to it really quick here, and I'm going to put the link out here. Let me just find it. Here we go. Let's link out here for everybody. Let's see. Did that work? There we go. Let me show it. So we're both in that group. And again, that's a free group that Sean has, right? Free Facebook group. So if you have Facebook, you can go into it. And in that group, there's all kinds of people sharing their stories and just sharing motivation. Even if you don't want to talk about anything, and just, not talk yourself and just read, I think it's great for that. So Randy, how important do you think it is to have support like that? Especially like I think we're both in the same situation where we don't have anybody else in our family doing carnivore. So you
Right.
don't have that person right there with you to help you rely on them. So how important is it to you to have like a community like that?
Oh man, it's been so important. These guys, those and Carnivore Quest as well, have just been, man, they've meant so much. The people in those groups that have, you could be having a bad day or anything and post it up there, and they're gonna encourage you. They're gonna, give you something good. If you got a question, they're gonna, usually respond and try to help you out. I mean, I posted that thing in there the other day about the gout attack, and I mean, so many people reached out and said they'd be praying, so that was real nice. And but yeah, it's important, I think, to have a group of people that are trying to do the same thing. That community is vital with this, and now I did the accountability thing. I've got the YouTube page, and I kind of feel like, man, I don't want to let anybody down. It's kind of linked me to it, and
Yeah.
and even if I do have a day or if I struggle, then I know that I got some folks that they're going to have my back. I can go in there and say, hey, having a rough time, and they'll pick you back up, help you. So
Yeah. And I think, using our topic theme today of what to expect the first 90 days of carnivore, that is huge to have that community, like you said, to support you, and you kind of even feel that bit of accountability, like you said. So anybody out there that's newer, or even if you're not newer and you really want like a community like that, check out that link.
yeah,
Um, again, you don't even have to post anything. Just read like the inspiration that's coming from other people and so forth. It's a great thing out there.
it
All
took
right,
me
so
a
we have
while. It did take me a while to post something, man. I'm telling you. But once I did, that was kind of it really helped me out a lot. I kind of felt like I got a load off and was kind of able to tell where what my story was and where I've been, and so real good.
yeah, yep, that's great. All right, overcoming carbs. This is Ron. He has a question.
Okay.
Grilling 32 pork chops at 1.47 per pound, 47 per pound. Okay. What was on your plate tonight? So what did you eat today?
So yeah, I had cube steak tonight. I was on my plate,
Okay.
uh, and
Trying to
butter.
remember what I ate. Man, what did I eat? Oh, I had so I ate twice today. Earlier in the day, I ate ground beef into burger patties, like 3 burger patties, and then this evening, a little bit, a couple hours before the live stream, I guess, I ate sirloin steak, which usually I like to have ribeye or New York strip, but I had some sirloin, so I ate that and just did a little bit of like butter brush on top of it. So it was pretty good.
You have any issues? Any qualms with mustard?
Um, I don't really use mustard.
I didn't never really like it that much, but I do. I use it sometimes with my hamburger patties. I mean, that's really the only thing I might would dip in. I might if I had some egg yolks or something. I do like the medium. I like my eggs over medium if I fry them. And I do like
Mm.
to, if I can boil the egg and get that yolk not quite as done in the middle, I love that. And I put like a pat of butter in it. I put salt on it. And oh man, that's good.
Yeah, I really haven't done much with mustard. But so occasionally, like if I am going to smoke like do some pulled pork or something, I will rub a little mustard on there first as like the base before putting any seasoning on it. But I don't do that very often.
Right.
So yeah. So let's see what we got here. Wow. So John from Carnivore Backwoods is on hour 27 of a 48-hour fast. Have you ever tried doing a longer fast like that, like a couple days?
I've done 3 days before.
Mm,
Uh, and I don't have a problem doing a day, a couple days. Uh, I hadn't really felt like it. I hadn't felt like doing it in a while. I see some people are doing it. I mean, I guess what is they talk about the autophagy or whatever is
yeah.
beneficial to try to get in that autophagy. So I'm not against it. I may give it a shot here in the near future.
Mm. Yeah, I've never gone more than 24 hours on a fast, so which isn't necessarily a true. That's more of like your intermittent fasting, right? When you're doing 24 hours, but I haven't done anything longer than that.
Carnivore
Okay.
backwoods. He goes to sleep. He ought to be in good shape. He'll wake up and it'll be about over.
Yeah. So our Kenton says Dr. Barry says he sometimes uses mustard. Okay.
Yeah, I guess if Dr. Barry, he's probably the big dog in the carnivore world, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I know
Yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker's he's kind of I want to say he kind of says like he's the founder. He said,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's the one that coined
He
carnivore, I
coined
think,
it, right.
is
Yeah.
what he says.
Yeah.
But
I feel like everybody knows Dr. Ken Berry though, just
yeah,
because he's out there. I can't even remember how many millions of subscribers he has on YouTube anymore, but like everybody that you talk to is like, well, I started watching Ken Berry videos, you
yeah,
know.
it is amazing how it blew up. Like I said, I remember when they weren't. It was just him, and then his wife started doing a few things. I mean, this is like real initial stages of it, and uh, and then it just exploded.
Yeah.
And now he's almost untouchable out there. I am going to the meetup that the Carnivore Quest. They're having a meetup, I think, next Friday in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm going to go to that. So I'm kind of looking these. I see a lot of these guys. They kind of look like stars to me. So I'm kind of looking forward to meeting them. Because
Right.
we see them on the YouTube videos, but I'm kind of excited about meeting them.
Yeah.
You know.
So let me ask you a question. Based on that, um, I was in a live stream with someone and they asked me this question. I thought this was a great question, so I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
Um, who would be on your carnivore Mount Rushmore? So that would be like the top four for you.
Ooh, I think I'm going to put Kelly Hogan on there. Um, at this point, I mean, I probably put Ken Berry and Sean Baker, and I know he's new to the game, but I'm gonna put Sean White on there. I'm gonna put the intentional carnivore on there, man. He's just done such a great job with it. I mean, he's killed it. There's
Mhm.
not many people that's done what he's done. As
Yeah.
far as how it worked. And I know not everybody's the same. I mean, I feel like some folks chastised me a while back because I said something about comparing my loss that it wasn't as. But man, I mean, he's a hero, man. He's an inspiration to all of us. And I mean, I want to be like him. I mean, I want to lose the weight that he's lost. Um, so yeah, that's who probably I would put up there. But man, there's so many of them. I love that steak and butter gal. I mean, the Lily Kane girl. I mean, there's so many of them that are just a lot of fun and so encouraging.
Yeah. So it's interesting because you picked three like doctors, celebrity, whatever, and then you picked Sean, like
Yeah.
just somebody regular, ordinary, right? And I kind of did the same thing when I was asked this question. So I did pick Dr. Ken Berry, and I also picked Professor Bart K. I don't know if you know Bart K at all,
I
but
know him, but I've not seen a lot of his stuff. I
yeah,
need
so
to watch more of it probably.
he's very good with the science. He can get really technical on it and really explain a lot of why scientifically it makes sense. Um, his channel sometimes he goes and plays a character on his channel, so it can be amusing sometimes watching his channel. Like he will have reviews of somebody that has a video out there, and he will just break down everything they're saying and how they're wrong about what they're saying and all this stuff. So I got him on there. Um, Instead of Dr. Sean Baker, I went with Dr. Anthony Chafee as my third one,
Okay.
just because I think that um, he's so he seems so calm and um, really I think that people can relate to him really well because of just how calm he is and he can explain things really well and so forth. So I
Yeah,
picked him.
I agree.
And then for my fourth person, I went the same as you, except I picked a different person, but I just picked somebody regular, ordinary from the community, not a doctor or anything. And I actually picked Dave Mack.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think his channel is no carb life or no carb, zero carb life, whatever it is. I can't remember
Japan,
exactly.
guy from Japan.
Yes. But so I picked him because he started the diet about a month or two before me. And a couple months in, I was kind of looking for the inspiration of what I would be finding and so forth. And you know, a couple months in, I don't know, 3, 4 months into his thing of doing carnivore, he started his channel, and that's when I noticed him. And it was for me, I could really relate to him with some of the things that had gone on with him. And also just like I knew I was like a month behind him. So if he was experiencing something, I was probably going to experience that in the next few weeks too, right?
Right.
So he was my fourth person on the Mount Rushmore. But
Cool.
Sean is also a very good one that you could pick. Like we've already talked a lot about Sean. So,
Yeah.
so carnivore dog sitter Becky is here. She says hi, Randy and Brian. So hello. So yeah, that's a good question. I got to start asking more people that in interviews because it seems like such a great question. I think it can
Mhm.
spark a lot of topic. So those of you that are watching in the chat, if you have your own um, carnivore Mount Rushmore, go ahead and put it in the chat and let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll show it up here on the screen.
I wondered, maybe you've heard Dave Mack more than I have. Just has he ever been to America, or is he just from that? I know he's from like down around Australia somewhere, right? But he lives in Japan now.
Yeah, he's in Japan now. I don't know I don't know that he's ever lived in the United States. So yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting because he's like 11 hours ahead of me. So when we've gotten together, like we have to plan it just right, like early morning for him and late at night for me, or vice versa, right? So that we can make it work since our hours are different. All right, so let's see. Oh, Carnivore Backwoods says he has to go. Have a good night.
He's headed to the backwoods.
Looks like same thing with Greg, my weight loss life,
Thanks, Greg.
and Rick. All right. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you have any questions for Randy or questions for both of us or myself, whatever, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll give it a few more minutes here to see if there's any more questions before we close it out. I know we've been going for a little over an hour. Let's see. Here's something about Dr. Kiltz. It says you can drink too much water and not to force it. You guys drink a lot of water.
I don't. I don't drink a whole lot. I mean, I feel like I drink enough. I think. Now, last time I didn't have any problem giving blood this time, but every time I go to give blood, they want to say that you look, they can't find a vein. They say you might be dehydrated. But if I would have thought this morning that if I would have been dehydrated, it would have been this morning. But I was not, and they got it on the first stick. So
Hmm. Yeah, so I would say definitely you don't necessarily have to drink a lot of water, but keep in mind what you're doing. So Labor Day weekend, I didn't really up my water intake, and I should have. Um, so to set the stage here, I was tearing out carpeting in 2 rooms and then putting new linoleum flooring in, and it was some of the hottest days of the year here. Like not the heat index, but the temperatures were between like 99, 100 degrees, like all weekend. And I kept going outside to cut pieces and bring back in. Oh, it's not fitting quite right. Go back out, cut it again, and I'm like dripping sweat and stuff, and wasn't drinking as much as I should have been because that I was active and sweating a lot and so forth. And I did run into some issues, and I got dehydrated and had some electrolyte issues with going out of balance. That's the other thing. Like when you start to get dehydrated, you think about it, if it's from sweating, you're not just sweating out water, you're sweating out electrolytes, right? So you got to make sure that you're getting the electrolytes as well. And that's kind of what happened to me. So I needed some extra electrolytes to get going back again. So that's something that, yeah, I don't think that you have to drink a lot of water, but if you're more active or if you're sweating, just be, um, notice that that's happening and that you want to make sure that you're drinking
Right.
more. And maybe if you're sweating a lot, you might want to consider electrolytes or something. Um, Here's a question from Dawn. What is the most surprising thing that happened on Carnivore, like improved sleep?
Hmm. It's a good question. First, let me say, hey, Don. I will say that for me, this gout attack that I just had was the most surprising thing. I was not expecting it. It was kind of out of nowhere. Um, but fortunately, I feel like that I'm just about over it. So thankfully, um, I wish that I could say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my sleep, maybe it is improved. Yeah, I mean, it's improved. It's definitely have to. I can say it's improved. It's just, you know, maybe this is wrong with me, but I'm just jealous of like my kids that can go to sleep and sleep till 10 o'clock in the daytime. you know, I can't. Why can't I do that? It just doesn't. It just, I know I could do it when I was younger, but I can't do it now. It just kind of perturbs me a little bit. But I'm not, like I said earlier in the program, I don't feel unrested, and I'm not tired when I'm driving. So I guess I'm getting enough.
Okay. Yeah, for me, wow, the most surprising thing that happened on Carnivore. Most surprising. I guess I'd have to say probably the most surprising was that I've been able to go over a year without an AFib episode. I was really hoping that Carnivore would help with AFib. I watched a video or a couple of videos from Dr. Barry where he talked about um, where you could see improvement in. I think he was talking about the nerve that's up here. I can't remember exactly what the name of that nerve is, but that nerve, when you have insulin resistance issues, can send the wrong signals, and cause the AFib episodes. So I was hopeful, but I think I was really. I, at this point, I'm really surprised that I've been able to go over a year without an episode. I wasn't. I was hopeful, but not convinced that it was going to fix it all the way like it has. Now, I know that doesn't mean that it might not still happen at some point, but to get to where I was like a couple times a week to now, it's been over a year and I haven't had an episode. I think that has to be the most surprising thing for me. Carnivore Backwoods says he'll see you at the meetup on the 22nd. Yeah, I remember him
Cool.
saying he was going to be going there. So he will be there. And we have another question. D4424. Have you had any problems with edema in your feet or ankles even after starting Carnivore? Can't figure this out, but it's painful.
Is that like swelling or? I'm not 100% sure. My wife was in there. She's a nurse. I could ask her, but um,
Really quick.
not,
Yeah, it
not
is
the,
swelling.
okay.
Yeah, so
No,
it's
no,
fluid.
I've not had any like that. Mine's, if anything, so we were talking about, aside from the gout in my right foot, I can see my veins in my legs really good. And I'm 372 now. So I'm still a good size, but, me and my wife were talking about it. We was like, man, should they be that way? I mean, I guess I've lost weight. So
Yeah. So D, I wonder how long you've been doing Carnivore, because I wonder if it could also be oxalates, oxalate dumping coming out, right? And that can cause issues. It certainly can cause joint pain and swelling. Um, so I kind of wonder if maybe you're 30, 60 days in or so. It could be something to that effect. Especially like for me, before doing this diet, I ate a lot of baby spinach, and I had issues with oxalates that I didn't understand was the problem. Um, but that happened to me like shortly after going into carnivore, where I had some issues there. So it'd be interesting to see. Okay, so Ron has more info here. He says I have edema on my left leg, improved but not gone away. Hoping it'll get better as I lose more weight.
I feel like it will.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing I've noticed is there are certain things that tend to go away quickly and other things that take longer. Um, my blood pressure, for instance, has improved, but I'm still taking a small dosage, and I'm not sure if I went off of it if it would still be where I want it to be. So that's something that here I am over a year into it, and I still feel like that one's just going slower for me. So there's some things that do seem to take a while.
Right.
But most things, when you go to a carnivore diet, most things seem to improve. And here's another question. Running Tap 12 says, sorry if this has been asked before, but are your partners doing carnivore with you?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing with me. My wife has talked a little bit about doing keto here more recently, but she has not tried carnivore. I think she's just starting to think about the keto thing and not fully into keto yet at this point. So I haven't. Yeah, that's for me. That's been an interesting point. Um, it's not as bad right now as it was over the summer because all my kids are out right now because of school and everything. They're in college and that, and for most of the summer they were here, and there was a lot more snacks in the house and so forth, so it was more tempting. But now there's less of that in the house, so that's good. And Ron says BP medicine side effect is edema. That's interesting.
Retain water, yeah.
Yeah.
See that?
Yep. All right. Well, we've been going here for about an hour and a half, so let's kind of finish it up here. And
Okay.
Randy, what I want to do is give you the floor here to talk to the audience, and just give them what would be your message to them if you could talk to them about the carnivore diet.
I would just say if you've been thinking about trying it, give it a shot. Either do 30, 60, or 90 days, give it a fair shot. I mean, I would go with that beef, butter, bacon, and egg weight loss hack that Dr. Kenberry has done the video on. Just watch that video and do that for at least 30 days and see how you feel at the end of it. And if you find it's not for you, then do something else, I guess. And I also would say don't stress the little stuff. I mean, some people are real nitpicky about things, but you know, I'm not I'm not going to let anybody beat me up over if I grab a couple of dill pickles and have with my triple from Wendy's. If I grab a couple of dill pickles to go with that, you know, and technically, no, I guess that's not carnivore, but it's 99% carnivore. And so, but yeah, just don't stress. Kind of really find, you got to kind of find what works for you and make it work. And if it quits working, then readjust, do something, try something different. If you slip up and fail, like you said, make that next meal be go right back to it. Unfortunately, now, yeah, I'm not saying I'm not gonna slip and fall, but I haven't so far. In the way that My wife mentioned something to me today about dieting, and she said, you know, you've been on diets before, and you do good, and it's like something happens, and the lowest I've been probably I did a liquid diet in between 2005 and 2010, I believe it was. I'm not sure exactly the dates. Um, it might have been before then, um, somewhere in there. But I'd lost down, and I was about 310, and I got best we can figure. I got bit by a spider, and
Mm.
it had a bad, like right on my stomach, made it kind of a bad infection. And it was getting redder and just kept spreading. So I had to go to the hospital and they had to cut the infection out, you know, do a small surgery there. And that derailed that particular because they were saying, you know, man, you've been on a liquid diet, you really hadn't been getting a lot of nutrition at all, just 3 or 4 shakes a day, and you know, so I went like 70 something days on nothing but liquids, nothing but
Mm.
liquid shakes, protein shakes. But uh, anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, just you know, give it your best shot, and hey, I mean, I'll be glad if you got any more questions or whatever. I've got my uh, ground beef by guy YouTube channel. You can shoot me a message or leave a comment, and I'll do my best to respond. So, but I appreciate the time being on here. Enjoyed talking with you, and I want to wish you the best too as you keep on keeping on.
All right, thank you, Randy. Again, his YouTube channel is at Ground Beef Guy. Thank you, Randy. This has been a great session. Thank you, everybody, for joining, asking questions, and chatting up and everything. And hopefully we'll get to do this again in a little while, Randy, and we'll give an update on how you're doing.
Yeah, maybe at 180 days.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thanks, everybody. Bye.